Hi everyone. Normally we'd be doing commentary about the match and winning a match for the first time preseason, but it's good to have Alex back on. But there's only one place to start, Alex. I mean, it was. I don't want to go into much into because I've got before that I had 2.5 page worth of notes, and it's such a shame, isn't it?
My mood started out with just pure excitement. This game, just everything about it was very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And, the way that we played in that first half was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And, my mood was incredible. And I've never had such a shift in emotions to being so excited, to feel so angry, not even angry, furious, and just downright upset. It's just incredible, and it's not just people can look at this in a way of like, well, with Fofana injured, we need to do X, Y, and Z. That's not even what I even want to talk about. There is no need for that type of play to happen in football, let alone it happen in a preseason friendly. It's just absolutely unacceptable. And the fact that nothing happened is even more sickening.
Yeah, it's again just to address some of the questions. Yeah, if for those of you that didn't watch the match or didn't manage to see it, it's a big injury. Thank you for your guys for your comments. Deathstalker goes, my dad works down at the LEI, so Leicester Villareal Infirmary, the fracture clinic. He said Fofana will be out for at least 12 weeks. So thank you for that, Deathstalker. Your comments. Thank you for all your comments as well. But I will analyze the match eventually. But I think in this moment it's just not a good time. And as soon as he went out and I saw the guy with the oxygen, or the person with the oxygen come over, I was like, no, that's not good. And the thing is, I think there's something that I've heard recently, when they stay still, that's how you like, for example, I can't remember who got tackled before, but the other guy went over and then was rolling forwards and backwards and forwards, backwards. When Fofana went down, he just stayed down. And you're like, that's not good. That's really, really not good. And then literally imagine they didn't even get a stretcher. They had to get the thing to wheel him out. But it's really, really not good. We've got somebody else joining. Akash, I just joined to the chat. Hey Akash, mate. Just we're not doing the match. We're just talking about Fofana. But what are your thoughts?
Absolutely terrible. I mean, I'm in lost for words, because that is something that you can't expect a friendly opponent to do. I mean, that was hitting below the belt, and that really rots our chances of getting into a competitive match with Manchester City for the Community Shield.
Yeah, it's not really, it's not acceptable at all, and that's what Alex is saying. Again, I didn't really look at the tackle too much, but just the impact, and it was just, again, unfortunately they replayed it twice on the screen as well, and I was like, I looked at it and went, that's awful. But again, thank you for your comments. Hopefully this can kind of get it off your chest. So that's one of the reasons why we do these a little bit. And yeah, Ethan, I think you've got a good point. Remind me of Daniel Amate against West Ham, and he was out for I think 9 months in total. And it's just kind of, again, it was a good performance, which I don't want to get too much into, but it was just again, vent, guys, get it out in the comments to try, and again, that's the whole point of this. Again, because I'm not here to analyze the game, but it's not just it's not on. It's just put such a damper on such a great player that we've Alex, we've been singing the praises of him ever since he came in, and it's a good thing to mention as well. Just that at the same time.
Yeah, and you look at the quality out of Fofana, and it's, he really is a player for the ages, coming forward. He's going to be one of those exceptional center backs. He already is. And he's going to be for years to come. And, just to see him go down like that, and it was a cheap shot. It was dirty. You can name every name in the book, you can call it that. And it really is just heartbreaking to see, because, he's a young kid. And, for an injury like this, it's just, it really is sickening. And the fact that, Nino, nothing, like nothing happened afterwards. And the fact that he even scored is even more frustrating. And that's even more upsetting that not only was there no booking, and I understand with friendlies that bookings rarely happen, but in an instance like that, those types of rules need to be thrown out. You get him off the pitch immediately. That's a red card. And I might be, this might be a little bit far out there, but I think a lot of people would agree with me in this situation. Is that when a tackle like that occurs, the punishment shouldn't be 1 or 2 game suspension. It should be you are suspended for the allotment of time that the player is injured. So if Fofana's out for 12 months, you're suspended for 12 months. Throw the book at him. Make an example. You want these types of tackles to disappear from the game? That's how you do it. And, the officiating, like, don't even get me started on that. In any, actual season game or any tournament, that gets called immediately. The fact that that was just cast aside, shame on them. Just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it wasn't great, Akash, and you could just tell by some of the players' reactions. I mean, like Sionchu was, again, he scored in that match as well. And then to see his reaction afterwards, I think all the players like Samore, obviously, who came over, all the little stories throughout, like the Samore that came over, just basically not because, but was influenced by the likes of Fofana as well. But it was just shocking to see everybody, because again, and one of the worst things, we'll come into it in a second, but it's a lot, isn't it, even for the squad, and it's not nice.
Frankly, I think Villarreal just thought that it became an ego problem for them because we were dominating the game throughout and they looked lost. And after that particular player, I'm not going to even say his name, he acted a lot, but nothing transpired from it. And then he got frustrated and took probably one of our best players out. And that puts her in a very grave situation, because now we're going to suffer a lot this season because of that. We're going to be pressurized into bringing in and re-establishing the talks that we are having for a center back. So it's a very topsy-turvy curve. But again, I mean, I don't have words to describe it because it was so cynical. That's it. I mean, everybody is frustrated, but when you judge a caliber that Fofana was showing, even 1 year for a 20-year-old matters a lot to contribute to the team, to raise his potential value, and to prosper into his career growth. So absolutely gutted at this moment.
Yeah, and he came in as a second. I'm just trying to get some of your comments up, because again they're flying in, so thank you. But there's just, again, it's just there was some positive things, and this, again, there's some things that are bigger than football sometimes, Alex. And somebody that's had injuries before, as you were saying, especially to your legs as well, that probably hurt a little bit more, just knowing that, kind of probably from your experience as well.
Yeah, speaking from experience, I've had 2 knee injuries, and I don't have the same quality of care as these elite athletes do. But I can tell you one thing is that Fofana will not come back the same that he was beforehand. And that, saying that is not something I want to say. You might get 95% fully fit Fofana, but you're never going to see that fully fit Fofana prior to that type of injury. Look at Ricardo. He's starting to really shine, and he's looking like the old Fofana that he was before his injury. But there always will be that one thing that looks off, and it might be small, but it's going to be there. And that's the thing that really does hurt, is that, regardless of, his recovery, Fofana is going to be exceptional. But you're going to see something, and you're always going to be like, I remember that injury that caused this. And that's the one thing that I think everyone's going to really take out of, his future career, is going to be, it was that preseason friendly. That was the reason why Wesley Fofana, can't do this specific thing.
Yeah, and it's not on. Considering again, it's supposed to be a friendly. We've seen it before. We've mentioned on this channel, Akash, when we've been here, that it's a friendly. Yes, we're trying to push the intensity. We were 3-0 up at that point. Again, not to get too much into the match, so there was no need for it, and there was just, and it's really damaged our chances because even though it's not about the football, it's just the way that even stunned the players and the heads just dropped. And I totally, watching it, I was like, I don't care about this match now. If they were to cancel it right there, I understand. Because watching the football after that just didn't feel the same.
Nobody did care about the match after that because our mind already diverted what's going to happen next, how the player is, and until there was news from the doctors, we were really. I mean, we at the end of the day, we all knew how terrible the injury was from the visualization aspect of it, and rightfully mentioned, the player is never going to be the same because as you saw, I remember, Luke Shaw getting that horrible injury in a Manchester United Champions League game. He was out, and see how long it took to get to usual peak that he was supposed to. I mean, it stalled 7 to 8 years for him. So I mean, it's a very topsy-turvy curve again because Fofana was really great in this match. Even as in the past season, he has been phenomenal for us. I think today, seeing that challenge, particularly from a team like Villarreal, whom I follow a lot because I have to cover Barcelona's aspect for writing purposes. I didn't expect a team like Villarreal. They are very docile. They play very sweet football, but unexpected, really unexpected. And I don't think Villarreal should be blamed for this. I think that particular player is should be shouldering the responsibility of the thing that he did. On good conscience, I don't think Unai Emery supports it, but obviously he should have looked more disgusted by his player's action, but he kept quiet. I don't know why that was because in the last match when a Villarreal player got red carded, he was very upfront. He came and he told the media that the red card, the challenge was unnecessary. But in this match, he kept quiet. So makes me question a lot of things.
Yeah, it's always a different rule when it happens to your team and when your team does it. And in the sake of consistency, I can't tell him what to do or whatever, but it would be nice for him to come out and at least apologize and say, not accept responsibility because it's not his thing, but to wish him the best or something. Again, this is raw coming out of this. So again, thank you for your comments, everybody. But it's just one of those things where I think reason why we're going live is just to get it off our chest, Alex, and just get that out there because we can't, again, this needs to be kicked out of the game, but also it's just going into a match that's the Charity Shield, not to make it too much about that, but there's definitely we've seen it before with the likes of the injury to Harvey Barnes, which obviously and Ricardo, but Brendan Rodgers is a good manager to kind of pick the team up and go, right, here we go again. Let's try and go and get that Charity Shield for Fofana. And we've been through our fair share of heartbreak. As you guys know, it's never fun, or never fun. It's never an easy ride watching following Leicester City, and this is just unfortunately part of the journey.
Yeah, and this is a lot of. There's going to be a lot of issues stemming from this injury. This isn't going to be, everyone's going to talk about it for a day or two, and we're just going to go back to normal. The repercussions of this injury, extend farther than anyone can actually think of. This injury not only highlights the fact that we severely need a center back, not just one but two with Evans's injury. So there's a gaping hole in our lineup, which is going to cause great concern. And I don't want to get into this right now because that's not what we need to talk about. But the mentality and really the emotional aspect of the squad right now. You saw the change. You saw the change immediately as Fofana went down. And that change doesn't just disappear overnight. That's going to have that repercussion, but I'm very thankful that we have leaders like Schmeichel. You got Vardy, you have, I would even put Bertrand in there. Yeah, he's brand new, but so he carries himself in such a way that he is a leader. And these guys have been there, for so long, they deal with that. And you look at Schmeichel specifically, he has been through a roller coaster of the last few years. And, especially this past, summer with, with Ericsson, so if there's any team, where, you know, you have that leadership that can really pick you up, you know, it's Leicester City, because you have those leaders and you have those qualities. But at the end of the day, you know, Gabe says it perfectly. There's no place for that type of stuff in football, especially in a friendly. It's disgusting. It shouldn't happen. And you hope that some type of punishment is sent out, and, you know, whether that be, you know, to the club, and I really do hope it happens with Nino. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, and that's the most upsetting thing, is that a quality center back, a young quality center back, who has done nothing wrong, you know, is going to suffer, you know, long-term issues on a deliberate tackle in a friendly. It really is disgusting.
Yeah, it is. And just an update, so thank you, Ethan, for your comment. He's made a story saying God is great with praying hands emoji, but he looks in so much pain. I can imagine, and I don't really want to. It's not that I don't want to see it, but I'm glad that he's got enough to kind of like interact with the fans a little bit and to say that kind of thing, even though it's falling on deaf ears a little bit, because obviously he shouldn't be talking to the fans. He should be like, right, get me to the hospital, get me better as soon as possible. But I guess it's one of those things, Akash, because again, he's been, I think, if players, this was the first time as well, I thought, that he's experienced a crowd apart from the FA Cup final and this last game of the season. But this is the first time he's experienced, because the King Power is actually a proper ground as well, and actual making noise, decent capacity. I could hear it from my house as well. They were making quite a lot of noise. But I just don't know what to say. But I guess Akash, we just wish him a speedy recovery.
It was a fantastic environment today. The atmosphere was brilliant. Even one of my friends went to the match at the King Power, so we were getting early vibes from the match before the pre-match presentation began. Really was excited. The crowd was brilliant after their comeback after so long. Didn't expect such a thing. And now the focus shifts from Fofana's grave injury to the recent concern that we need to attend, as rightfully Alex said, to get the replacement soon enough. And yes, earlier it was one centre back that we needed, but now we definitely need two. In that department, I think Kabak was an option that we need to look into again. And Crystal Palace just parted ways with Gary Cahill. I think that could be a good bench player for us. Very early stages, just speculating, but we need to think about that as well, because the Premier League is going to be brutal. It's going to be a cut-throat competition this year, judging by the amounts that teams are spending. Danny Ings just swept away by Aston Villa. Nobody saw that coming. No whispers anywhere around the rumor mill. So every team is doing their part, and despite the injury, despite the, the, the grave situation that we are facing right now, we need to act strong. We need to do it for Fofana. Even the Community Shield will be a big challenge for us, because the squad will be motivated. Last time when Johnny Evans got injured in the FA Cup final, we saw that channel into motivating us, and we did get the win over a big Chelsea squad. So I'm expecting the same. I think the squad will be extra motivated in 2 days' time. Brendan Rodgers and the team is more matured to deal with this kind of situation. And as you said, being Leicester fans, it's always highs and lows. And we had a euphoric high in the first half, and in the second we saw what happened. So it happens every day, every instant of a match. So you can give us a quick here.
And just to think that obviously certain players were coming back from injuries. Now we've just got another long-term one. Obviously, James Justin was looking to come back from the physiotherapist in October, which is a couple of months away, which is good. Ricardo's obviously improving on his situation, which, again, we will talk about later on, I think, and just before another match as well. But Alex, we've seen a situation like this, and I think the team obviously will make that bond stronger with each other, but at the same time, it will force them to come. And we know these situations. Brendan Rodgers knows how to handle them as well. So we've got the right man in that as well.
Yeah, if you need a manager, I spoke of players when it comes to leadership in these types of situations. But if you need a manager to get you through this type of stuff, Brendan Rodgers is that manager. And I think, between players and managers, I think this team, the club, no matter what, is going to be in good hands. And I think that's a positive you need to look at. And I know that is hard because in this type of situation, you can't pick out positives because all you see is negatives. But those are the positives you need to look at. The leadership on this team, the manager is all about this type of stuff, and he's going to, bring this squad together, and he's going to lead them, on, firing all cylinders next time. And this is where you just got to keep the faith, and that is the hardest thing to do in these types of situations. And I think one of the other things that I've really noticed, and I was just checking my Twitter just at, and the amount of, supporters from around not only the Premier League, but around the world, have really come together. And I've seen a lot of Villarreal fans, as well, have really stated to be like, there's no need for this type of, play in football. And I think that just comes to show you that, this is far greater than just, the game of football. This extends that. And I think that really shows you that there are a lot of people, who love this sport, have, and those are actually the supporters as well of the club that we just played, that say there's no room for this. And I think that is huge. So, I think the big thing moving forward, I think we're going to see a lot of chatter this week, and I don't want to talk about it, but I think you're going to see a lot of chatter this week because, that center back hole is massive. And I think, that is something you just can't wait to address. And as Chester says, you could bring in Ndidi as a center back, but you don't feel confident in that. If I was going to put my 2 cents out there, I think you need to do another run around on James Tokarski. I think that's a definite option that you need to look at, but I know we will focus that on another time because right now it's not a time to really dissect that stuff. But, you just got to keep the faith. It's hard.
Yeah.
But just keep the faith.
But that's literally what the whole point of doing this. Because again, it's like looking at this and matching and stuff like that. We all just kind of need to get it, not just off our chest together, just to go, that is not good enough, but also to go, God, lads, we're hurting. And that's okay to get through this. But that's kind of the point of this kind of live stream as well, Akash, just to kind of go, right, let's try and get it off your chest a little bit. And then we can come in and go, we still remember Fofana, but we will do analysis on it later, because that's kind of how I'm feeling. Because when these kind of things happen, you go, there again, and some of the football was great, and I do want to talk about that eventually, but I don't think now's the time, because there is just so much. I mean, it's just with the unnecessary amount of stuff at the moment. But it's, as Alex was saying, it's great to see people on Twitter all kind of gathering together and fighting for the same cause, and just going, because we've seen these tackles happen in the Premier League before, and and all the players seem to come together and the fan bases come together, which is good to see.
Fofana is such a player that he has won the hearts of a lot of oppositional supporters as well as our own, because he is our own. He does that. I mean, if you see such a young player who is so magnificent and elegant in his movements, even as an opposition supporter, you have to applaud for that. And Fofana has garnered those praises throughout the world. And today is just a culmination for people to get the proper opportunity to show solidarity and support. And I think that's a beautiful gesture. Even at a time like this, the player will get notified of this, and he will feel good and he'll be positive for a comeback. And I think that speaks volumes as a community and the global reach of Premier League.
Mm-hmm. And again, we'll get through that. That's the whole point of this. Get through this together, and we'll find a way. Unfortunately, we've been through worse situations than this as Leicester fans. So to kind of bring things together. But people are talking about transfers and things, and I understand that, and I understand we're trying to fix the holes. But at the end of the day, I think we know our club. We know what they're going to do, especially after this situation. They'll be go, okay, we need to step up our game and try and fix this. But Alex, the owners will find a way as well to rally everybody together and go, okay, this wasn't the best situation, but let's come together and let's support the team still.
I think you need to, I think one of the things that we've spoken about all season last year was trust the process. You know, we continue to do that on a daily. And look at how this club has, you know, really given us back everything and more. So, you know, at the end of the day, we can talk about transfers, you know, left, right, and center. But, you know, let's focus in on Wesley Fofana. You know, let's focus in on this injury, you know, and wishing him nothing but more than a speedy and healthy recovery. That's what we're focusing on. But remember, trust the process. This club is, you know, is one of the best. I will say the best in the world, and I will say that. No, and you know, everything that they do is, you know, perfect to a T, and you just need to trust that process. And you know, Gabe says it perfectly. Foxes never quit. You know, yeah, we've been through some horrendous situations, you know, in the past few years, and I think, you know, you just got to keep believing. And
Yeah.
you know, that's the big thing I just want to really, you know, stick out, you know, in this discussion is that, you know, I have no worry whatsoever, you know, moving forward. You know, when it comes to, you know, really dissecting what has happened today, all I care about is, you know, Fofana fully recovering, you know, and getting back on the pitch as soon as possible.
The thing that I was going to leave that comment there because it's such a good one and such a good message at the moment. But again, it's an awful injury, but I think it's good that again, nothing is bad that's happened, but he's in good hands. We know that the physio, they will give him the best quality care as well, Akash, and what's happening there. And with that, it means that again, there's going to be something that's going to rally around that, but the club take care of their players. So they, as we've saw before, they with the likes of James Justin with his injury, he went to the best specialist I think in the world in that position for his issue, and for that reason, I kind of go, okay, not over it, still wish him all the best, but I know that the club will do everything and they can to try and get him back on his feet and in the right place at the right time.
The club will do everything in their power to see that a player recovers soon and he gets the best treatment that anyone can. We cover greatly in that department. I think the support that the player gets behind the scenes is terrific in this club. Even as a whole, this club is so great. I think there will be two positive takeaways for me that I will be optimistic to look forward to. First is that despite the grave situation, it happened at a time when we can utilize the transfer window. Second, I think there are a lot of young players who can step up to the occasion and cover a role for the second centre back that we are in search for, because in desperate, dreadful times like this, we have seen enough foxes rise up to the occasion and really step up their game and gel well with the team. That will be instrumental for us. So yeah, that will be my two positives to take away. I will be hoping to see somebody like a Ben Nelson step up and become the next star, and Brendan Rodgers will have an additional option in the forthcoming seasons.
Yeah, well, Ben Nelson is an option, but it's a lot of pressure to put, especially today. I only found out he was 17 years old. A lot of pressure. And obviously, with the squad that we have at the moment, the transfer window is, again, I don't want to make too much, but we will find a way. But I just want to kind of bring it to a greater thing where the club may come out with a statement. Again, we don't know the exact injury, but it looks like Alex is going to be a long-term one.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know what is with us, you know, and these long-term injuries. You know, we've talked about, you know, the Ricardo Pereira injury and how long that lasted. We talked about the James Justin injury last season and how heartbreaking that was, because that one was just absolutely heartbreaking. And you look at, you know, Fofana right now, you know, he just had everything going for him. You know, I really do believe he was going to have an exceptional season, and I still believe that, you know, if we are fortunate enough to have him come back, you know, he's not going to mess around. You know, I think he will be exceptional regardless. But I just feel like we are just we're very unlucky when it comes to severe injuries, and I think that's a tough pill to swallow. But, you know, as we've all discussed about it, you know, we have some of the best, you know, medical, you know, staff, you know, in the league. And I think that's something you need to look at and just, you know, like I said before, trust the process, because at the end of the day, I really do believe that, you know, You look at Ricardo. He's back and he's looking just as lethal as ever. I believe full-heartedly that when James Justin comes back, he's going to be the same. And I truly believe when Fofana comes back, it's going to be the same. And it's keeping the faith, trusting the process, and just continuing to trust the club. And that's the thing I'm just keep reminding myself in these types of situations. And I think, Akashi said it perfectly. There's a lot of young talent. They might not be Ben Nelson, but it could be some other up-and-coming player that really shines and surprises. And, I think, I'm not trying to look at that as a positive because I don't. But these are the times where you have moments where you have young talent that goes, the club can't afford X, Y, or Z to bring in. This is a time for me to really step up and showcase what I have. And who's to say that we are completely surprised by some young player?
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to see who that is. But again, it's a strange one because I don't want to move on from the subject, but at the same time, I think everybody's in the comments going, right, how do we replace him? And I'm trying to find a way of kind of balancing the two because, again, it's not to go, okay, he doesn't matter now. But again, we've had a few long-term injuries with the likes of Daniel Amate, Ricardo, James Justin, just of recent as well. I think it might have been even earlier this year as well against Brighton. So it's not looking good, but at the same time, we know the team will pull together, and I think the next match is going to be, obviously it's going to be for a trophy, but that I think Akash, if we do win, which I hope we do, it's going to be for him, isn't it? And the players are going to fight and we know that they're going to come together, but they're going to fight for him and win the trophy, hopefully for him, just like they won the FA Cup for Vichai.
Yes, we are going to push for that extra mile in that competition against Manchester City because in every match we play, we are the underdog. And after an injury like this, we are, the odds are more against us. And we thrive in those occasions. So I'm really going to be hopeful that something beautiful happens in the next game.
Yeah, I think so. Alex, any other comments? Because I'm kind of out of it, and I don't really want to change from that same. I don't want to change from it, but at the same time, I wanted to give people an opportunity just to kind of get it off their chest because it's just there's just a lot of things we could say, but I just want to kind of stick to this one subject at the moment.
No, you know what? At the end of the day, I was gutted. I'm still frustrated, and I'm still angry. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like these are the types of situations, and this is what I love about these types of post-match commentary. Where first half we played exceptional, but realistically, this is a type of moment where we really sit down and we just get it all out there. Because let's be serious here, it's not healthy to for the there's going to be a bunch of supporters that are going to somehow going to go find his account, and they're going to heckle him and post just absolutely unacceptable comments on whether that be his Instagram, his Twitter, or whatever, and that's just not acceptable. And at the end of the day, that's what I have to say on that. But this is a healthy way of really getting those emotions out, because you could just tweet and rage about everything that you wanted to say, and it can be extremely offside and just not acceptable in the slightest. And this is a healthy way to really get those raw emotions out, in a very mature way. I would always view it as. So I think hats off. This is a great idea from Neil, and just being able to get everybody's emotions out.
Yeah, and again, if you guys, I'm not going to judge anybody in the comments for how everybody has their own different way of reacting with it, whether it's to go, okay, let me just focus on the next transfer. And I'm not going to show the comments, but again, if that's your way of coping with it, that's fine. If you wanted to say RIP or not, hopefully has a speedy recovery, then we're fine. If you want to talk about transfers, that's fine. But again, I won't bring them up just because it's perfectly fine to do that, but I think now's not particularly the time. But any thoughts, Akash, as well? Any other thoughts? Because again, it's not a nice situation to be in. However, just want to emphasize that we're all here for each other. We all kind of want to just get this out at the second, get this out, and hopefully, and again, get behind the club and know this is one of the this is kind of something that will bring us all together once again.
Yeah, a time like this does bring the fans together, and I think the Focus fans are a close-knit community anywhere in the world, because I live in India. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm still here, rooting for my team, rooting for my player who is at the hospital right now. So, we are a strong community, and I think Alex said a very important message, that if you're gonna bottle up your emotions right now and you're gonna release it tomorrow on the social media platform targeting a single player, I think you will be adding to a lot of problems and not solving any one of them. And as fans of the Blue Army, we will be really putting a blemish on our fans. So don't do that. We need to be the greater person here, and we need to accept the situation. We have to have a positive outlook towards it and move on, because anyhow, within a year, even we need to suffer, Fofana will come back stronger, and we'll have glory days ahead of us with Fofana, and we're gonna do it for him. We're gonna be a better team, and we're gonna have a wonderful season. So just keep that positivity around you, spread it. Don't spread hate any way, in shape or form, because that really hurts a lot of people. You don't know how a person is feeling right now, so don't do that, because it's only gonna cause a lot of problems for you, others as well.
You are a bit quiet, Akash. We can't hear you. I think, especially now, it's gone a bit more quiet. But yeah, I can send that sentiment just from our perspective, just to say that out there. Just Alex and Akash said, don't go over and give them any hate. It's not worth it. It's not productive. It doesn't actually solve anything, and it's kind of like it's like just burning your own town down because you feel angry. It's like, we understand, but that's not the right way to do things, because you're left with a town that's in ashes, and it's like, what's the point in that? But yes, I want to continue, but at the same time, it's just, again, as Pete says, poor Wes, and we still feel bad and good for him. But the same thing, there's Alex. It's just one of those situations where we've just got to kind of band together and get through this as fans, as players, and with the owners. They make everybody feel the same in that aspect as well.
Yeah, this is a time where the fan base comes together. We support one another. We're here all together to support, Fofana, and that's what the club will be there as well for, and this is just a time where we really do come together, and we put all our support in this club. And I think that's one thing that I love about this club, and the supporters and the fan base, is that we are so loyal, and we are loyal to the very end. And,
yeah,
that's the one thing that you really need to look at moving forward. And just, like I said, keep the faith. Keep the faith.
Yeah, keep the faith. But all should be well in the end. But thank you again, everybody, who has been tuning in. I know this is not the regular kind of stream, but at the same time, we have to react to the situation that's put in front of us. So I don't want to do the usual plugs because it just feels unnatural, but my brain naturally went to that. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We've got another video previewing, I even feel bad saying that, but previewing the Charity Shield game, which obviously is overlooked now, but we'll get onto that, and we'll definitely get back to revisiting the game apart from the Fofana leg breaker, because I don't really want to cover that again. We've covered that in this video. We've spent long enough talking about it in a good way, and then we'll just kind of move forward. As Chrissy said as well, the team have to pull together and look forward to Saturday, and that's kind of what I want to say as well. Thank you for all your support, and hopefully we'll all, as Hari Krishna was saying, we'll all fight together, and we'll get through this. So thanks, everybody. See you later.